But there's no point in me going live while I'm actually doing this because, well, you're not going to see much because I'm having to use a pair of these watchmaker glasses. Actually, one of them's tilted up at the moment, so push that back up like that. So these are my watchmaker glasses I got off eBay recently, and they help me to find work, and they've even got little lights on them. Look at this, I'll show you, it's really cool. So turn this knob, and we've got a light. But yeah, there's no point in going live while I'm actually using them because you want me to see bugger all, because even I can't see much. But basically this is a motor from the 1980s which I've taken all the windings off, and this is just the metal part. I've stuck it in the end of the motor while I've put nail varnish on the corners so that I don't catch the wire when I rewind it. So basically there's 500 turns of wire, and I use the exact measured amount onto one of my little bobbins, which is here. So that's the amount of wire. Come on, focus. So that's the exact right amount of wire, blue tack holding the end of the wire so it doesn't all fly off, that goes on each segment. So I've got to measure that amount of wire onto the bobbin, and then I've got to wind each segment. Now what I found out, I'll explain it. There's the actual commutator section, I've taken it off because there was carbon on the commutator. The commutator is, and I'll just put that in there so I don't lose it, is here, this little thing. Now, let me see if I can get this to focus. I had to unwire this thing. So let me get my nail file and stick it in, basically show you what I'm talking about. The light's a bit of a funny angle. I got it on a CD platter, a hard drive platter at the moment. Right, this is the commutator. Let's get it to focus. Come on. Right, there we go, I think. Right, there's a commutator. It's not in bad shape. I'm using my file to hold it. It's not in pretty bad shape. I was picking at it with a pin actually, and I scratched it up a little bit because I was just clearing the commutator. It was actually between, you see those little slits between the ferrite ring. Hang on a minute, this is getting hard to focus. Between the ferrite, this little ferrite ring. Come on, focus. It's focusing on everything that's the wrong thing. Trying to get this to focus. Oh, best to video it closer, I think. Right, there's a little ferrite ring on the top, and it was shorting. There was carbon on the between this ring that's got the soldered. It won't focus on me. Let me see. I'll put my hand around the back. Maybe that will do it. Right, there we go. Right, this ferrite ring is the thing with the carbon that was in between those solder sections, and it was in between the center plastic, which is right in the middle, and the ferrite ring, and it was causing it to short out, and that was the problem, not the actual coils. But anyway, I took the coils off anyway because I have the right wire for this. I measured it with my calipers. I'm going to rewind it. It's 500 turns per segment, and it's a fiddly job. And so I thought I'd just look how small it is. Look at my finger. Right, this is how tiny it is. So yeah, I've got nicotine on my fingers as well. So it's gonna take a while. I've already rewound one of them, but I thought it was just a coil, but it turns out it wasn't the coil that was shorted, it was the carbon. It was carbon in the between the back, and there was carbon all the way around this plastic section in the gap, and that was shorting it out. So I had to dismantle the whole thing just to be able to clean it. So what I did was I put it inside one of my plastic containers, one of these things, and I put WD-40 in it and soaked it. I put the container in boiling water to heat it, and I soaked it for about a couple of hours, and it melted away all that carbon that was causing the problem, because I was picking at it with a pin for hours and I couldn't seem to find where the carbon. To remove the what was left, the WD-40, so it was degreased basically. So I cleaned it with isopropyl alcohol afterwards because I want it perfectly clean. So that, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this gap around here on the back. I'm going to fill it with melted ABS plastic in solvent, in ABS and acetone. I'm going to fill that gap where the carbon was with melted plastic, so that the carbon can no longer get into that gap, because that's what shorted it out before. So it should prevent the carbon from getting there, because there'll be plastic in there instead. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So it's going to have plastic where you can see the light through that gap there. There'll be plastic in that gap instead of carbon, and that will actually anything. So anyway, the thing came up in one piece without any problem. I used acetone and it melted whatever glue was on there to hold this thing on, so I can put it back together without any problem, because it says it's dropping frames. Anyway, which is this thing, turns out just short in there with a new one. It actually turns out to be carbon on there. It was easy to find out actually just by powering this up without the commutator in. There was no short at all, so I figured out, well, it's got to be the commutator or the coils. Anyway, that's it for now.